I think you're doing great.
Are we live? It still says starting soon. My fault. All right. We are, well, I guess we're, oh, because of the buffering and everything. I didn't even think about that. I apologize, chat. So we are back. We are going to see if that fixes our issues here. Definitely a really, really strong start for Deadheads here. Able to come out not only with a strong performance on their, on their killer side, but also their survivor side here.
For sure, for sure. I mean, they did what they needed to do, and now it's just up to them to keep it.
Yeah, and so we are looking at a score of 41-9 heading into trial number 3. This third trial is, of course, going to be critical, trying to keep it within that 31 point frame heading into trial 4, of course, right? This is going to be the point where we want to make sure that maybe they come out and we saw Huntress, but maybe this is where we see maybe the nurse play come out. I know you kept mentioning the nurse.
I mean, if it was me, that's what I would be doing.
Yeah.
You know, you can bring, they have to bring a strong killer now. The point gap is just getting that much further away from them. The Huntress was a risky play. It unfortunately didn't pan out, but I could see what they were going for, right? They said, okay, they brought a Freddy. We're not going to bring our strong. We'll bring someone in the middle. Okay, that's fine. But now you need those points. You're clawing back. You have to be ready to dig down deep. You know, you got to fight back. So they need to bring something that's going to do that.
Yeah, I also like the idea, right? For right now, for the hookers, this is where you can almost, especially for your killer, almost approach it as if this is game 4. And like you need like the perfect game, which might happen at some point during the regular season, right? So now you pick up whoever you feel like's your best chance, whether that's a nurse, whether you want to slug all 4 at 5 gen with the twins on Dead Dog, which I don't think I've ever seen. It would be absolutely nuts. So feel free to do that. I'm here for it. I got my popcorn.
That'd be amazing.
It would be pretty fun to watch. But it does look like here we're going to be working on heading towards getting these lobbies filled here again, getting these last 2. I got a question for you though. If you're one of the survivors for hookers right here, are you in your killer's ear trying to hype them up, or do you feel like sometimes that puts like too much stress on the killer heading into a trial?
You have to walk the line, okay? So there's a lot of the time in a situation like this where the team is down, right? And you know, this is our last chance to kill. This is our last chance to get those big kill points. It could be hard because you don't want to go in negative, because the first time you bring any negativity in, you already lose, right?
Right.
You have to come in and be like, all right, man, whoever it is, whatever you're playing, you got this. You're going to go in and you're going to 4K. It's not even a problem. Don't even worry about it. Those first 2 matches, don't even think about them. We're going in fresh. That's what you got to do.
And you know, I think the nurse is kind of a good, you know, we keep bringing up the nurse, and I think for those who aren't familiar, the big reason with nurse is one of those 3 that are, she's one of those that has pretty well always been at the top of the list, right? One of the top 3 as far as meta killers. And, you know, I feel like even now, especially we've seen some changes with the Spirit, which is obviously, I think a lot of teams are trying to figure out, is she still top 3? Blight is still, I guess you can say, newer. He's been out about a year. I think our teams have had enough time to be able to figure out our killer of Blight. But I feel like the nurse it's like old reliable, right? It's like the butcher's knife in the kitchen.
Right. It really is. And it's kind of unfortunate because they keep putting out new killers. And I love that they're putting out new killers. That keeps you engaged. It keeps everybody happy. But where's nurse number 2?
Right.
You know what I mean? There just isn't anyone else in the conversation. You know what I mean? If you put the top 2, I guess you like the top three for a long time, was Nurse, Spirit, Blight, right? But really, everybody who plays knows it's Nurse. Nurse is number one. If you get good with Nurse, you'll never lose, basically, right?
Right.
Unless you're going against Agony or somebody, some insane team, you'll get the most out of the Nurse.
Now,
I mean, she does suffer sometimes, depending on the map, but more often than not, she's strong.
so what's your? I would love to get your opinion. I asked Vader this. I think it was last week, but I know obviously we've seen Nemesis get introduced in the comp scene, and some teams have started to play with them. But as for right now, if I'm not mistaken, the Cenobite is not allowed in Vigo's core. I think we're still kind of trying to figure out where he lies. Do you feel like once the Cenobite gets introduced, do you feel like he kind of has a good kit to slowly kind of start to rise the ranks in comp?
I would love to say yes, but I don't think he's that strong. Like, he's very fun to play against. He has that one little gimmick where you have to get the box, right? And that's where he thrives, is if you don't get it, right? But in comp, that's not going to matter. Someone's going to get the box. Someone's going to hold the box as long as they can, and then someone's going to get in a chase purposefully, so they draw his attention, and then someone's going to open the box, and then he's going to have to decide, and you're always losing because I don't know if you know, but the Cenobite always spawns behind the survivor, so the survivor's always running away.
Right.
So it's like a cool little gimmick. It's fun, but I just don't see him being very strong.
I think that's a really good point to point out there too. Is him always spawning behind you. You would be surprised at how long that actually took me to realize. And like, I play this game almost every day, right? So I'm sure for some people, they might have actually just learned a thing or two. But while we're at halftime, I also know that we took a second to step away. So in case anyone forgot where it is that you find the hookers, it is at the Deadest of Dogs, the Grave of Glendale. It is 136 square tiles, 8,704 square meters. What does that actually mean, though? Well, it means we have a 6-hook minimum, 11-hook maximum, kind of like we had talked about a couple times over the course of that last trial. A little bit smaller of a map. So that does mean that our killer has the potential to really be able to output pressure to let that exponentially build, right?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely allows her to do a lot, and we'll see what they bring. It could be anybody at this point. They might just say, maybe they're just gonna say, look, we're just gonna try something, see what we can do with it, and just try, because this is preseason, right? So this is really for them to really work out any kinks in it. And as you can probably see, there's a couple wrinkles they're gonna have to work through.
Well, yeah, especially seeing that, this is Hooker's first time seeing them here in Vigos, right? I do believe they ended up sliding into a empty slot that we had after the qualifiers itself. So actually, shout out to them for having that availability and working with us on that. But I think you point out a good point. This is kind of where you just make sure you go through, not only like it's like in sports, right? It's not just about going out and doing the reps, but like you have to do the reps at full speed for the reps to really get like the full benefit, right?
So it looks like we're ready to go, so we can switch into spectate and get going, because it looks like everybody's ready.
Let's get this bad boy going. I'm excited for it. I always like trial number 3, because I feel like there is often where we catch ourselves in situations like this where maybe one team has a bigger lead, a little bit of a bigger lead, but it doesn't mean it's over. This is where you could see, we could see the Hookers come out here, have a strong performance on the killer side, and then see them come out and have a nice finish and a nice little cherry on top with their survivors in trial 4.
You would hope. It's like I said, the first 2, they could be rough, could be working out kinks, figuring out their opponents a little bit more, figuring out where they really need to strengthen certain things. And it's their first time, so there's probably nerves, right? For being on the stage, that can affect how you play. It can affect your decision making, but you have to just try to forget and just play, right? Like they're here to play, and that's all they need to remember.
Yeah, you're playing
And
the game that you enjoy to play anyways, right?
right. I mean, you spend the time practicing and building everything together. Just go out there, do your best, and if you fall short, you fall short. You pick yourself up, and you go back and grind some more.
And especially too, I think on the killer side is the most important to get like the live reps because there's so much going on. On the comp scene, there's so much uniqueness, right? It's not like you can expect a dead hard on every player, or anything, right? Like that, right? And while we're actually talking about that, let's actually talk about some of our like the ban rules when it comes to what we've got going on here at Vigo's Court. You're only going to allow to have one of each item and one perk. There is only going to be allowed one duplicate perk, which is borrowed time. We do have a couple of banned perks though. We have a haunted ground, which is banned. You will not be seeing that. You will not be seeing prove thyself on the survivor side, nor will you be seeing starstruck. Killer uses are limited to twice a season. They are used also limited to twice per or once per match during the preseason, and you're limited to one of each character per team. So you can't have duplicate Nias, can't have multiple Adams. Even though your team name might be 4 Dwights in one locker, you cannot have 4 Dwights coming into the trial here. All right. If you have any other questions when it comes to our rules or anything, make sure you use !point rules in chat and kind of look up on those things there. But we are moving in to trial number 3, and again, gotta love the build up and the anticipation. I'm excited here because I always like to see. We mentioned already multiple times that is the hookers this first time in Vigo's Court, and I do believe we actually are going to have a different player playing the killer role, which means it might be their first time. I'm not sure if it's their first time in competitive altogether, but it is going to be something new for Vigo's Court to see and kind of flex a little bit here. So super excited to see that. Let's go ahead and move right on into it. And we are back on the deadest of dogs, chat. Keep in mind. And we have got us an Oni-chan. You love to see it.
You really, really do. And fun fact, Oni is one of Orange's mains, so he should put up a good show right here. He's trying to get that early hit. He does see. I'm pretty sure he sees someone, and that's blood in the water for him. That's how Oni works, right? He's just like a great white. He sees you, he's already smelling blood before he gets you. Oh, and that is a near miss at that window. Good, nicely timed, and we do see the Lithe play.
Yeah, now, of course, the one thing that Oni does have to fight against is the fact that the early game is a little bit weaker for the Oni, right? Like, you got to start inflicting some injured states to really start building your power. And it looks like we've already seen a mistake allowing for that first hit to come across.
Yeah, that was a very good fake right there. That's the unfortunate thing about the Oni is it does take him a little while to get his power, but when he does, it just kind of keeps rolling from there. So you don't want him to get it, and it looks like, ooh, that was so close. A very nice pallet stun by Poppy Myers, and he does just have his power now. So he did get power before any gens were popped, and that's where you really want to be with the Oni, and he's gonna get it down. Oh,
That's
look
got to
at
be Vault
that!
Build, right?
That's gotta be Spine Chill. I would have thought for sure that was a down. Very nicely done, and he's wasting a lot of his time down here. So you really gotta hope that the survivors are on the other side, and he smartly goes in the corner to make him go get him. So I would guess that they're working on Gallows. That's what you need to do. You need to get that middle. There it is. Yep, you need that one gone. That gets rid of a lot of that 4 gen potential over there. But if you do look, it does look like he has a pretty good 3 gen down here at the bottom still, with that 4th gen over by the water tower. So he's not out yet. He's in a good position.
Yeah, I would agree. You got yourself a good little 3, like, in the straight line. Like, not quite a straight line, but about as close as you can. And the other thing that's going to be interesting to pay attention to here is, you talked about he's already got his power. So now we could be looking at we're saving our power until we see a survivor coming in for the save. One thing I also wanted to point out, though, is we saw it take a while for that first down to come in, and there wasn't any corrupt intervention, so we might be seeing a couple gens pop even still.
It does look like that's what's going on, but I would have thought you would have seen some gens pop if that's what they were doing. And he does really need to capitalize right now to get this point spread closer. They are down by quite a bit, but they are not out. As you can see, he's got one down. I'm not sure if he's just baiting right now, or if he lost them, but he does get them back, and he's gonna hook them back there, and this will really tell if he has anything to help with that gen regression. As you said, there was no corrupt, so you gotta hope he has some other thing up.
Yeah, and we do see a 3rd gen coming in, and
back.
and also too, you're going to notice that breaks up the 3 gen, but also you're going to see that we do have a gen that is covered now. We can talk about that deadlock. It's been interesting to see it seems like more and more people are bringing out the deadlock in the competitive scene and trying it out and kind of seeing how much value it has.
Yeah, it's actually very interesting that deadlock went off and did not block the other gen before they were able to finish it. Because it's just supposed to, if I remember correctly, it's supposed to stop the next gens with the most progress, but it didn't look like it did that. They finished one and then one right after.
Yeah, I have seen some teams in the past 99 gens and then like try and complete them at the same time. However, you did mention that they looked like they got done not simultaneously, but one after the other. I am not sure if maybe there is a certain threshold, like since we do see some teams 99, if it is at that 99 point and you don't complete it, maybe it doesn't block it. Maybe that's what we've seen. We'll have to kind of keep an eye out there because I kind of feel like you didn't get true deadlock value there. We do have a slug on the ground. Going to be interesting to see what B Orange here does here as far as trying to compound pressure.
Yeah, I mean, it is very unfortunate that it took him so long to get that first survivor, and then they did come and trade pretty immediately to set up for this deliverance play that we do see, and either that was an unbreakable or someone went over there to pick him up. But there's a lot of pressure lost now. Like, he's down to 1 gen, everybody's up. That survivor potentially could have D-Strike, and there's still now the broken status is gone, so now we know if they did, it's gone. And he does find one.
I thought maybe you're going to see a demon dash to be once on the one he found here. Going to be interested to see if we can get it down.
Yeah, this is we do. See, that is a hard place for Oni, but it's not impossible. If you have the control, you can really do well with Oni. It's pretty late in the game for this, so he can't really afford to sit here. And he does see someone injured right there, so he's probably going to just soak up the blood and then, hold his power. That's what I would assume he's going to do, but he is going to go back to check this gen on his progress. You can see that it is not really moving. He does find one, and they do get the save.
Yeah, we see that save coming in across, and we do still have a decent little 3 gen set up in this corner. If you include that one, up across the way, you're not having to basically leave this quadrant of the map, essentially. However, we do see our survivors playing very, very passive, leaving almost as soon as they see the Oni, trying to pull him as far away from those generators as possible.
Yeah, that's really what they need to do. They need to waste his time to allow for the other ones to finish it. And I would think that they would be up on that outlier gen. There's a lot of time for him to climb those stairs. He's not, like we said, he's not Nurse, he's not Freddy. He can't get up there as quick. I mean, he can with his dash, but you can get away. You have plenty of time before, because he's gonna have to stop at the top of the stairs. You can't do that 90 degree.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be something that I'm sure. I think both sides, though, we've kind of saw even like Orange around the Gallows, kind of similar, right? Like not really an ideal area to play around, but you did mention the experience from our killer here, and getting caught on the door frame there, even though the door was open. That's tough. However, that's going to be another down. That's going to be a bam, bam. You love to see it. And that's going to be a second down. You'll notice when we pick up here that we're already at about 50% of the way towards our power, and a lot of blood around here for B Orange to be able to soak back up and maybe be able to make a move and make something happen in the late game here.
Yeah, he really needs this snowball to really take effect. And the only problem again is that he's on this side of the map with the gens being on the other side. So he does have the ability to maybe force 2 deaths here, but they're gonna finish that gen if they are communicating very well. These two are saying finish the gen, get the 2, finish the gen. You know what I mean? That's what you are hoping they're saying.
Yeah, definitely. With seeing basically the Oni going back and forth at this point, if the 2 survivors might have been splitting the gen pressure across the way in case one got pushed off, knowing that the Oni is in between the 2 have probably moved to whichever generator is the farthest progressed. That way you can at least get yourself the last generator points and then move in for a save here.
Yeah, because see, what's going to happen here is that if that gen should be popping any second now, these 2 are going to die on hook, and then they have to hope he doesn't catch another one. See, there it goes. They need to just jump on that door, because he's not going to let these people be saved. And he's now, this is the point where he's going to come back. There it is. There's the save.
A save right on the edge of death.
Ooh, we do see a down on I believe they were healthy, right?
They were healthy there, and you will notice also on the right of the screen we've got that haste status, so we can talk about that. No one escapes death. So, that is going to be just one more stage there. And with the door opening across the way, can't help but imagine that that's going to be 2 survivors leaving here. And I want to check for my save. That is actually one of the survivors being a fresh hook as well. So that's going to be some extra points for our survivors there.
Yeah, I mean, he did a great job at the end there. He was probably hoping for a little bit more early game pressure, which was denied to him from that deliverance play. That really turned the game around for him. But he was still able to get 2 and quite a bit of hook states towards the end of that round.
Yeah, and so definitely got to be feeling good there. I mean, we're talking about you had 1 fresh hook out. You had 1 person that was out, I think was on death hook. So we're talking about 8 altogether stages. You did have a couple of progressions, of course, but definitely a solid Oni performance when we're talking about on the comp scene, and particularly when we're talking about a map where it's very easy for the survivors to be super efficient, right?
Oh, for sure. And they did a really good job. Honestly, the Survivor Squad did a really good job of pressuring the gens while not allowing him to get over there, right? So he got one down, he hooked him, and then the other one immediately beamed over there to heap that pressure on the killer in that area so that they could do what they were doing on the other sides. It was a very effective game strategy. I think that's what they were hoping for.
And I do got to get a double check and a confirmation here. Because I see some GGs going on in our chat. However, I do believe we're looking at 30 to 56, which would mean we should still be available for a 4th trial, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's not over yet. I mean, they have the opportunity to do a good Survivor game, and if they can, they could potentially try to tie, try to win by maybe a point or 2. In comp, you never count your chickens. You know what I mean? You never know what's going to happen.
Now, with that being said, though, and knowing that the Deadheads do have the lead that they have, would you expect that maybe they're gonna come out with something like maybe try and not come out with it. Like obviously, like an S tier would be good to kind of come out and get like the last dust off. But with it being the final week before preseason, is this maybe where we see one of the mid tier killers come out since this game's kind of basically a decision at this point?
I would think that if they're just saying, hey, we're fine, we have the point lead, we're just gonna bring and do our our win condition, then sure. But if they want to make a statement, then they might come out swinging just to get it over with. It's hard to tell. In this situation, you would think that they're just going to say, all right, let's try one of our weaker killers and see how we fare.
So with that being said, who would you like to see come out here?
Honestly, just because it's one of my favorite killers. People call him boring, but I'd like to see a hag, put some good traps out, get some good ITHs, and really make the survivors work, because it hasn't really been like a whole tug of war yet. You know what I mean? It's been like one side or the other dominating. I would like to see something like that, because for me, hag is so much fun. Once you get that web set up, that's when she shines.
I am very much happily going to say that I disagree. No. Yeah, no. I would have to say that I'm probably a much like I was talking about, right? Like on the other side with the comp. I don't hate hag, but I don't like hag. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I mean. Most people they're like, can we not? I don't want to do the forever 3 gen. Let's
However, when we're talking about some fun like not meta killers, or not even maybe your next 3 after the top 3, but Bubba doesn't get played very much. This could be a fun round to break out of Bubba, but I don't know if that's really accomplishing the like getting in the live reps, right? So maybe seeing another one of like your M1s. I mean, maybe we see
I mean, a basement trapper wouldn't be too bad here.
Yeah, I haven't seen very much Trapper come out since his little rework. I would like to see that. The one that I was really thinking though, that I really like, that we've seen actually came out quite a bit during the 5K for Dead by Esports, that got used quite a bit in that tournament after her rework, is the Plague.
Yeah, earlier today I was playing some pubs and I ran into quite a bit of hags. I mean, not hags, Plague. Sorry.
It's okay. You're thinking hag because you really want to see it. I get it.
I know, but her power is a lot more effective now, so you do suffer faster.
Yeah,
she's able to really capitalize on making everybody injured. But I mean, she's just Legion 2.0 to me. Get everybody sick and hope you catch them. I mean, a good comp team, they don't care that they're infected. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I do think though that sometimes that's where the I think that's kind of why I like watching comp plays, because you will have those teams that kind of like walk that line, right? Like, we're not gonna give you your power, so we're gonna stay sick. But then like gets caught unfortunately in a dead zone, or maybe doesn't quite get to safety while they're while they're trying to retreat from a gen, and they're by one unsafe pallet, or all of a sudden you're cleansing and then right next to here comes the Plague, and now they're picking up their Vile Purge and it's 2 easy shots before you can build distance. So sometimes I feel like the Plague, especially like you talked about with her being so effective now, especially making a survivor sick, can make things very, very interesting.
Yeah, I did notice that the duration, like when she pukes on gens and stuff, is longer, right? So that, to a healthy survivor in a pub, is like, oh, I don't want to touch it, right?
Right.
But in comp, they're like, whatever, I'm gonna get sick, it's fine. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, 100%.
It really, I feel like against the Plague, it really shows your team's ability to extend chase, right? So if you can be injured and not go down for a long time, you're doing what you need to be doing. because basically you're playing a plague now. At least the way I see it now is you're going to be injured most of the game. It's almost like the old Legion, right? Everybody was injured the whole time.
Right. Agreed 100%. So it's funny because I know this week recently it started getting talked about more with the plague, since a couple of videos have popped up with the alternate way of making of playing the plague, right? Where you can just infect everything with the common and uncommon add-on, and now the sickness lasts longer on the gens. But I think you talked about that. That's not really an option in comp. You have to be very aggressive, and we have actually seen the more aggressive plague since her change will come out, and obviously they have to use their regular purge. They'll come out and they'll take that corrupt purge right off the rip and try and do some damage there and try and get it down before even getting people sick.
Yeah, I've ran into. It seems like we're ready to go, but as we do see, it's only really a 27-point game for them to win, which is not out of reach. But the killer would really need to do poorly.
Yeah, I mean, here you would definitely need to be overextending into some chases, right? Like you might see one of those 4 or 5 gen runs, and one, our killers are usually adept enough to not run into those, but 2, if they happen to catch themselves in a nightmare of a loop sort of setup, they're usually able to break away from those break chase and start putting some pressure elsewhere, right?
Yeah, for sure. And another thing that might actually, hopefully doesn't happen, but could help is if this team got any penalties. Let's go over the penalties and see how that could affect the game.
I love it that you're nailing my transition for me. Let's go ahead and talk about our penalties here. So as far as if there are any sort of penalties or anything like that, there could be a sort of a penalty, a restart, or both. But some of the things that can cause those is you can have only one unique item, one unique perk. You can't have any double perks except for borrowed time. You can't have any doubled survivors as well. Anything of those will be a -5 points as far as a restart. Wrong map is going to give you -5 points as well. No harassing the officials. No using exhausted killers once we move into the regular map. And there's also a point deduction for a delay of game as well. So quite a few rules to kind of go over there. Hopefully our competitors here know them. If not, they definitely should be asking their mom. No, they should definitely be making sure they're keeping up on those. If you want to know, though, as a viewer, I know it looked like we skipped a couple of those on the scene there in the transition. !! Rules in chat will get that squared away for you, though. And here we are. We have gone through 3 trials. We are ready for trial number 4 here. And you gotta get excited because it all comes down to this. We're back on the deadest of dogs. We've got baby Cades out rocking the demo dog.
Well, so here again, demo. Oh, he just saw 2 in the bushes. That's not what you want. So demo is actually Cade's main. So they're bringing out main to main right now, just to try to show him what's what. And we only have a little bit more time before people can actually pick up the demo pup. You know what I mean? So I like it. I like that they pulled him in.
Yeah, I definitely love the pickup, and I really like Demo Dog's kit, right? Like he has the ability to close the distance, especially on a killer, just like we saw with the Shred. But also you talked about like the Hag's ability to set up a little bit of a web with her traps. You do be able to set up your portals with Demo Dog and be able to traverse the map quite quickly.
Yeah, I agree. That's one of the things. And he also gets some, depending on, he gets some free information if you're standing on him too. It's going to be interesting what they do. What was that? Is he stuck? I think he got fat shamed. What was that?
I think it was an unfortunate flick into the barrel, and it was a slow look. Like you didn't see that. You didn't see that.
Yeah, but I was saying like the ability to teleport and shred, right? I wonder if they're going to put another killer in with some sort of similar kit for everybody who has not started DBD yet, because they're not going to be able to use him after the 17th if you don't have him.
Yeah, you know what? I had seen in a couple of different places, and I tend to agree. I feel, oh, and that's a down there. That's going to be hook number 2. Interesting to not see Baby Cades at least go for a hook state, or sorry, an injured state onto the Nia. Now, we do see the Nia kind of running in front. Can't help but wonder if maybe they're going for some cheeky breakout plays, 'cause didn't look like they were moving in for the Sabo there. But as far as the demo dog and the ability, what's your thoughts on us getting a werewolf and basically just putting like burrows underground? It's the same thing from the top down at that point, right?
Yeah, so uh, my name is Dark Wolf, so like the whole werewolf thing is what I live for, right? So I like and hate that at the same time. I really want some kind of feral creature that will do some kind of transformation, and and then maybe be able to do the burrows. I feel like some kind of like very scary, very feral, almost Oni like, but not the Oni. You know what I mean? That's what
Right.
I'm looking for.
And we do see some very good looping here by Nia, being able to pay attention. Ooh, and able to get a little bit more distance, even without using Dead Hard. However, that's going to be a hit and a down at the window. That should be Ashley's first hook here.
Yeah, and that just shows the versatility that Demo Dog has. You know what I mean? His shred is not just for pallets; it's for gaining distance, right? You get that short little stun. See, he tried to get it to get the door, but he's still. You can kind of leapfrog with him, and that's what you see a lot of top tier Demogorgons doing. They use his power to move. And we do see a deliverance. Maybe a little premature because he's already back on him, but that's what I love about him. His ability to just not really he doesn't need to run. He can just jump at you. Kind of it can be scary at times.
Yeah, especially when you don't see it coming from an elevated area like we just saw. But we do see that Nia was able to prove why life is indeed life. Made quite a bit of distance, but instead of using that distance to get to another safe area, kind of just got caught in the back here. And that's going to be another down. And that is going to be hook number 2 for our Nia, which will also be hook number 4 altogether for our demo dog.
And we do see that either they missed it or did not have DS. So either DS is still in play or they missed their DS off that pickup.
Yeah, because you definitely are used to seeing the DS on the Deliverance player, right?
Yeah, it's almost like a comp staple, but you know, I feel like it's getting to be too obvious now because the timer for the Deliverance is the same as the D Strike, so they don't even have to count. They just wait for that symbol to go away, and that they don't have to worry. I kind of wish that Deliverance broken status was shorter by maybe 15 seconds to give D Strike a purpose because it's kind of useless together.
Now, do you think we'll see some people start to go for like a Deliverance Vigil, or do you feel like that's wasting an extra perk spot to give yourself more bonus off of your Deliverance play, if you even get it, right?
Right. So what I think you're gonna see more of is the pair, not on the same person, but on a group, right? So there's gonna be someone with the Deliverance, and then someone with Vigil pairing up with them as they get off that hook, you know, to try to help them speed that up. I think it would be wasted on themselves rather than on someone outlying.
Right. That actually makes a lot of sense. And that's actually going to be another second hook, if I'm not mistaken, here onto 30 lashes. So now we have 2 players both on death hook once 30 lashes is removed from the hook that they are currently on. But that does mean that we've got a fresh hook survivor somewhere in the trial as well.
Yes, and not to sleep on the survivors. They do have 3 gens left, right? So there's the 4th one as I was speaking, you know. So what do we have for a spread here? They did not leave a 3-gen. If you see, we got the main building, we got, you know, over by the gallows in the corner, and then by the person that was on hook. So is on hook rather. So there's a pretty good spread for a chance for them to, you know, maybe let this person die, finish that gen, and potentially get a 2 or 3 out here.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've ever happened to have one of them old school caddies with the North Star, but that engine, the knocking from one of them engines sounded like that one up at the top of the saloon. That thing was just about ready to go. That's why we see that thing getting knocked down across the way, and that's going to be a down there And 30 lashes getting saved right before the death hook.
That was literally a
The
splinter of
animation
life.
started.
That is that's amazing. That is amazing.
I don't
So-
think I've
so-
ever seen that before. It actually started the hook animation on the side as if the actual elimination had gone, and that was crazy.
That was like last second, and I'm not gonna say it, but we did see something in the distance there, which I think is gonna be a problem.
Yeah. So, and the other thing too, we can point out, we had the notification we saw there that they were covered when Baby Cage checked this door. We do have the No Way Out. Now, of course, you would have to wonder if that's paired with the NOED, but we don't know yet. We had a shred come in, so that has we have no idea at this point. So if you're a survivor, you've got to be nervous, especially because these aren't the most friendly doors either.
Yeah, and we do see the haste effect. So
That we do. We see
know.
the haste there, and we see Kate right here that goes down, and that is going to be another down. But
again at the
Wow.
last second with these saves, amazing. Like honestly, the very last possible second, twice in one round. Hats off to that. That in itself is great. And they're gonna vie to just let this go, and they do get the 3 out. I've never seen that. Have you ever seen such close saves twice?
So
I've
I
never
want you
seen
to
that.
notice something. There are 3 people walking out the door, but if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, it shows that there were 10 hook stages because it had registered the one as being a hook state, but then they were actually saved. That's insane.
Yeah, that is like literally last possible second getting them off the hook. That's
wild. That if I had to guess, that's probably a like a ping sort of thing that has to cause that, because like we said, it showed there were 3 people who escaped, but it was reading it as if there were only enough hook states for 2 people to be walking out the door.
yeah. I mean, if it, it's one of those technicalities, right? So if you're looking at it objectively, 3 people escaped. That means they did not die. That
Right.
means that last progression shouldn't count. But at the same time, the game registered it. So I don't know if you give them that progression and the escape, because that just doesn't seem fair point wise. But we'll have to leave that up to the judges to decide that.
Yeah, and at least that's now we had something like this happen during the preseason, right? Where we could have we
can
could
evaluate.
evaluate it and figure it out. The other thing too that it is unfortunate for our survivors here. Now the good news is the decision had already happened, right? But we saw that the survivor that got hooked in the end was your only survivor that was fresh hooked. That's a pretty big kind of miscommunication there, right?
That's an unfortunate for sure. You would have hoped that someone who has already been hooked would have taken the heat, but they did get 3 out. So, and it did seem like they were going towards the other gate, so they were probably splitting pressure, and they just kind of were the one who got caught. If it was up to me on this, I would say that they didn't get that hook stake. Unfortunately, as it is, the game said it, but ping works both ways, right? Sometimes you win, you gain from it, or you lose from it.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, the decision. Luckily, that hook or that progression or whatever you want to call it, that's not the difference in our score here.
No,
Right?
but I think if it was, let's just say this was a 1-point game off that progression, right?
Right.
I think you would have to give it to the survivor because they technically escaped. They walked out the gate,
Yeah. So you think that you just take away that essentially the progression doesn't happen and it counts as the 3 that got out the door? I mean, because you had 3 walk out the door, and those have to be escape points for the survivor, right?
Right. So if you look at it the other way, flip it around for a second, right? So let's say that they did get the save, right? So then that person gets caught and hooked. Now are you not going to give them a full hook point and say, well, it was a progression technically, so it didn't really matter? You have to
Yeah.
look at it both ways. So I think in that moment it counts as an escape, and that progression didn't happen because potentially they could have downed them and then got another full hook.
True. True. Yeah. So although that would have, what do you think would have happened if we would have if we would have only had one of the 3 escape? Would it have shown us as a 12 hook 1 escape? Because that would have been kind of weird, huh?
Right?
I mean, that's what the game is telling me. They got 12 hooks, but there is still an escape. So I mean, who am I to argue with behavior here?
I mean, obviously, anybody who's played DBD for a week knows this game's perfect and has no mistakes.
True though, but you know what? If I had to guess, a survivor team that would be able to pull off some trickery like this, it's the hookers, right? The hookers always be scheming out here.
Yep, it's their hooks, right? It does look like we're ready to chat with Deadheads over here. So, I think you have to unmute him.
It looks like I'm guessing we're probably going to be just getting Poppy Myers OB, making sure Poppy Myers has the right permissions or making sure that it isn't set on push to talk or anything. But we are going to go ahead and move into the interrogation room here. Oh, well, I say that, and I think Poppy Myers got a little scared and decided to leave. I do believe, though, we are going to be bringing Poppy Myers into the interrogation room here, so do hang with us for just a moment, chat. But before I do forget, we definitely want to make sure that we are convicting the Deadheads of murder, because I feel like I forgot that during the 6 p.m. game today. But want to take also a second here. Wanted to get your opinion here. We saw a lot of you had kind of mentioned previously a lot of trials in this matchup today that were in control completely by one side or the other. If you're walking away from this game, are you happy about the part that you were in control, or do you feel like that now it's like you almost have to go completely to the back to the drawing board?
Well, all right. So if you're looking at both teams, right? So obviously Deadheads pulled out the win here, right? But as a brand new team to the scene, right, and going onto a map like this, and you're gonna take away like, okay, we need to work on our killer a little bit stronger, right? We need to figure out what works best for us here. And then you also should feel pretty good about yourself, knowing that you just went against a team and that was their killer's main killer, and you still got 3 out. I mean, you have to feel good about that.
That's true. Definitely gotta be loving it from that side there. And I do feel like from watching, I think both sides survivors, honestly, like I think there are a few things that they can take away. I think that they are able to hang their hats on and say, hey, we are at least able to accomplish what we wanted to here, and here. But here is what we're going to be able to do to go from getting the couple of times where, we were struggling on getting gens done or getting people out. Here's where we can really push the needle to make sure we're maximizing our results.
For sure. So is anybody coming into this interview, or are we just?
I don't know. I saw that we had the one player pop in. Want to make sure that it wasn't an issue with a computer. Not sure if maybe they were trying the pull out the cartridge and blow in it and then put it back in thing. Even though we were never supposed to do that, but it always worked for me. So I don't know.
I mean, it worked like a charm for me, and it's kind of feels, there's a little change of times, right? So like games are like out of our control now. It's kind of
yeah.
You fix it as we go. Used to be
where you well, the other thing too, right, is like well, first off, I also want to say it didn't always work, but 50% of the time it worked every time blowing into the cartridge here.
Correct.
But here, it looks like we're gonna wait one more moment, try and see if we can get somebody into the interrogation room here. Not quite sure if maybe we're just having some technical difficulties, but do want to mention we do have some more games this week. Want to make sure that I am pulling up the schedule the right way, make sure I am giving out the right times. I do believe as far as for tomorrow we have, let me open this up here, chat. Tomorrow we have got a 6 and a 9 p.m. Eastern time game. You can find us obviously same bat time. Well, not same bat time, but well, what's same bat? Anyways, same bat channel. Anyways, we're gonna be here 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. And then on Saturday we have games at 1 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Eastern time, and 6 p.m. Eastern time. And looks like we're gonna have a little bit of mix of some different folks kind of jumping on the desk. See a little bit of me, a little bit of Vader, a little bit of Shep. We saw Stony Boy today. We saw Dark Wolf today. We're just, throwing a little bit of everything at it. I would say we've got us a nice little crew. I think y'all would agree, right, chat? I would say Dark Wolf MVP in chat hashtag, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So just to clarify, so tomorrow, right at 6 o'clock, we were gonna see Corrupt against Immoral Alliance on Blood Lodge. That should be nice. And then at 9, we're going to see Wrecking Crew go against Daddy Issues on Groaning Storehouse. So those both should be really good matches, and you're not going to want to miss those folks.
Yeah, good matches, good teams, good maps too. I like the map selection too. Going to offer some interesting strategies, I would say. Also, the homies over at Corrupt are some of the homies of mine. So I'm gonna be excited to see what they break out here.
Yeah, it looks like it's just us, and then unfortunately we're probably not going to be able to do an interview because some technical issues. So
That's
we're
just
probably just going to have to catch them next time.
Yeah, that's just the way it goes sometimes. That's okay. It just means no interrogation room today, chat. But that does indeed mean that we are convicting the deadheads of murder, chat. Now, this is the end of as far as they keep in mind. We will be back again tomorrow here, and then Saturday. Before we get out of here, is there anything else, Dark Wolf, that you want to say after your first time showing the face and showing up onto the fun part of Vigo's Court? Because obviously you always do the more important stuff in the back.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was a lot of fun for me. Hopefully it wasn't too dry for everybody. Hopefully they enjoyed a little banter back and forth. I feel like, this could be something I might fall into a little bit more if people like me.
I like it. So we did hang out with Justin earlier, so I don't want to go to the same place, even though Justin is still alive. Let's go somewhere else, chat.
Check out Rugard.
I was going to actually, you know what's funny is I had just finished typing little Rugard in chat. So from Dark Wolf, I am your boy Q, chat. We appreciate y'all coming through and hanging out. And if we don't see y'all tomorrow or Saturday, y'all have yourself a fantastic weekend. And until then,
be safe. Take care of each other.